and please take the charge for the further guidance.
Yeah, thank you, Bansalji, and welcome to all again. Okay, as a part of this continuous education program. Okay, today we are going to discuss about the Indian power sectors and its valuation. Matlab, whatever the elements of the power sector, majorly we are concentrating here generation stations, matlab, those who are generating the electricity. Okay, so valuation, we do not know that. Okay, valuation means is a process to develop opinion on value or estimation of a value. But nowadays, majorly when you are doing the valuation of the any infrastructure projects, value is not belongs to majorly most of cases value is not belongs to the asset. Okay? Yeah, it is a fact that there is an asset, then there is a income generations and there is some economics benefit available. But nowadays, valuation is a more economic concept rather than the asset concept. No one is ready to purchase the asset. No one is ready to purchase the asset if any asset has not any economic benefit. Again, when anyone looking to purchase the asset, they always try to compare with his substitute. So by whatever the latest substitute or a substitute available, it is a cheaper or costlier compared to what I am going to do. Okay. Same fundamentals, same economic fundamentals, we have to also keep in the mind while evaluating this power stations or electric generation station or any assets which is generating the income. Okay. As a valuer, it is okay. Okay, we are a valuer of the land and building, and we are the valuer of the plant and machinery. But individually, as a part of our education program, also individually, asset has a no value without any economic benefit available in the asset. Okay. So value, we may derive market value, or we say fair value or fair market value or whatever. All thing is belongs to at which probable price transaction may take place. We are not thinking about only about the seller. We have to also think about the buyer. What will be there in a buyer's mind about the pricing of the asset? And if transactions come place, then only our reported amount may become a value. Otherwise, it is a just amount in our report. The value is this much, but in a market, no one is there is a buyer, maybe due to any reason. Okay, so first we are trying to understand the entire Indian power sectors, and then we will come under the valuations. Okay, so during this sessions, we are going to discuss about the macro analysis of the power plants, yeah, generation stations, yeah, entire power sectors. We will little bit micro analysis of each segments, or a major segment we will discuss. Then we will discuss about this valuation procedure, and we go for some case studies, how value may arrive using the three approaches and what are the difference between the three approaches. That may be we are arriving by the cost approach, or we are arriving by the income approach, or we are arriving by the market approach. Is there is any significant relationship between this approach or not? Yeah, which approach we have to select it. Okay, so first that we are going to discuss, it is about the macro analysis. Macro analysis, matlab we are study little bit about the entire power sector of India. We are trying to understand what is the position of the power sector as of day to day, yeah, when we are doing the valuations. Okay, so we are studying the power sector as a whole. That is our macro analysis. Then we study our power generations. That is a thermal power plant, solar power plant, wind power plant, hydro, or whatever. Okay, so currently, at which position India in a power sector? Okay, so simply we are in a good positioning in the world. So about India is the third largest producer of electricity. Even we are third largest consumer of the electricity. India is fourth rank in the wind power. We are standing a good position. Same fourth position in the solar power plant. And India is going to almost achieve 100% electrifications. Is this electrifications affect the value? Yeah, affect. Why there is a when there is a value? When there is a demand. When there is a demand increase, electrification in India will be increased. But obviously, demand of the electricity will increase. Demand increase, the component of the generations pricing or value will be increased. Okay, so each and everything is a correlate with the each other in a one way or different way. Okay, so if we take the power sector as a whole, so Indian power sector is a mainly three components. One is a generations who are generating the electricity. Okay, then this electricity is transmitted to the power stations, to the substations. That is a transmission sector. Then from the substations, it is a distributed up to the end user. That may be a industrial, commercial, or residential, or any end user. So three segments of the power sector: generation, transmissions, and distributions. Today we are going to discuss about only the generation sector, valuation of power plants. We are not discussing valuation of the transmission line, valuation of the distribution lines. They have own value also, and different other parameters or characteristics, or their market is lying in a different area, specific area, and the transmission of the distributions. Nowadays, many private players also play in this era of the transmission and distribution. So up to the generations, mainly we have as a source of the generations that may be a thermal, nuclear, hydro, and renewable energy sources that include wind, solar, or many others. So if we take account of the installed capacity, so installed capacity out of total, almost 58% capacity in a thermal power plant, but in generation, electric generation, we have whatever we are consuming the electricity, out of this 75%, about 75% electricity is generated by the thermal. Still, there is a demand of a thermal. It is not like it is nowadays outdated. Many other factors. Then nuclear, almost in 1.5% capacity, but he's also distributing 3% of our electric generations. Hydro, there's a 11% or 11.5% in terms of the capacity, and almost same percentage of generations hydropower is contributing. RSC, that is a renewable energy sources, his generation capacity is at 28%. Installed capacity is at 28%, but as a part of the electricity generations, it is a lagging. Only 11% of our generations contributed to the RSC. Okay, so it is not like a thermal plant. We are reading about, we are listening about many things, polluting supply of the coal, there's a disturb, its values down, like not that. We have to, at the date of valuations, we have to check the market conditions, contributions of the each element in a generations, then we have to derive, so what's the value of our subject assets. Okay, so majorly 4 generations, so entire sectors, generation sectors, transmission and distributions, and goes to the consumers. So in the generation sectors, there are the many central public units, state public units. There are private independent power producer also. There are the state electricity board also. There are a lot of captive power also, which are the making the generations. This generation is transmitted, again, transmitted is operated by state electricity board, power grid, private players, same distributions, SEB, that is a state electricity board, yeah, discom, sorry, private discoms, yeah, private licensee, and end of that, we are getting our energy at the consumption that may be for the agriculture, domestic, commercial, industrial, or any purpose. So whatever the electricity generations, so there are the three elements, well, three players are there. One is a central, other is a state, and other is a private players. Okay. So in India, if we segregate in a region wise, so our waste region almost contributes 133 gigawatts, or say 32%. Our north region 117 gigawatts and 28%. Northeast is a 5 gigawatts and 1.2%. East almost 33 gigawatt and 88.3%. South 119 gigawatt and 30%. Is this specific information relevant to the valuation? Yes. Distributions of generations is uneven if we are separate out the 5 parts of the India. Same that is done by the Ministry of Electricity also. So if you are doing the valuation in east or northeast, scenario is a differ. If you are doing the valuation is a north or south, scenario is a differ. You are finding a more competitions in a north, in a west, or in a south compared to the in a east or in a. So no competitions, more value, and other regional limitations are also there. Okay. So if we go for the major 10 states, contributed about the 77% of total generations. Okay. So, and based on the ranking, Gujarat is a leading, then followed by the Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Rajasthan, Karnataka, and else. Okay. Geographic location is play important role in the selection of the power plant. Yes. Selection of location play important roles in form of the availability of the raw material, in form of the transportation of the raw material, in form of the location of the consumers, in of the available utilities. Just like a power plant, thermal power plant required a large quantity of water. Solar plant required a large area of land. Wind power required a consistent wind flow. Okay. So according to the sector, segment, location required. Many power plants nowadays in India, particularly if I'm observing in the north or northeast or toward the east, are suffering by the obsolescence, suffering by the poor utilizations, almost null, because of the one reason, selection of the location. They have find availability of the raw materials, utility required, major water required are not sufficiently available. They are finding the issue, the linkage of the call, transportation facility of the call is not available. Many times, many occasions, the linkage is breakdown. Any reason. But if linkage is breakdown for a month, 2 months, or 3 months, it's suffering by its economy or suffering by the generations and subject to penalty. So selection, it is a matter in doing the valuations. Okay. And here valuation, it doesn't mean valuation of the plant and machinery or valuation of land. Both are affected. Entire value is affected. Okay. So these are the energy maps. Okay. So we are finding that is a thermal and gas base. So normally you are find that there is reason where coal is available. Coal minings are there. It is a concentrate reasons. Okay. You find that there's a hydro, water resources available. And level is available, required, selected coastal area and some of the hilly area. These are the man for the solar. You find that mostly large parcel of land is available in this region, particularly in this region, which is the desert part of the India. Okay, same thing, wind, again, coastal region. And again, you will specifically observe that coastal region may be west coastal region because wind direction is a matter. Wind direction at specific speed is a matter. You find that our northwestern region, yeah, coastal region is also that, but there is no development of the wind power stations because we are getting the wind in the opposite direction, which is not suitable for the generations of the energy. Okay, so each and every parameters affect the value, entire plant value. Okay, then major as a chunk, we discussed third producer, third consumer, fourth in a solar and wind. So NTPC, that is a central units, it is the largest power producer in India and sixth largest. Now, I'm not looking like a NTPC is a power producer. As a valuer, I'm looking NTPC as a my client. अरे भाई, इसके पास तो इतना सारा है, thermal power plant है, hydro stations है, solar है, wind है. Why should I not approach the NTPC? Okay, same like in a private, Tata Power is the largest integrated, मतलब has a all the thermal है, hydro है, wind है, geothermal है. Adani is the largest in terms of the thermal power stations. That is based on the call. Again, I'm looking Adani as my client. Okay, if I have knowledge of the coal power plants, I can do the valuation in the best way, all the data I have. So why should I not approach the Adani? Okay, then same it is a national hydropowers is the leading in the hydro utilities, hydro generations. Power grid, that is a part of the transmissions. Power grid is looking for the largest transmission utilities for a planning, for a coordinations between a producer and consumer, and power finance that providing supporting facility in related to the finance to managing the activities for the development in the power sectors. Okay, all these entities looking at valuation. Okay, so we have to develop our views in a such a way. It is not just knowledge. NTP is the largest. Okay, we have to view. We have to change our views about whatever the informations or knowledge we have. How we convert into the commercials. Knowledge without the conversion of the commercials, it is meaningless many times. Okay, so let's check as a whole scenario of the India. So nuclear, that is in range of the 6.7 gigawatt we have. Hydro in range of the 46 gigawatt have. Renewable energy sources is 118 gigawatts. Thermal, that is the largest sector. It is almost 236 gigawatt, 203 gigawatt. Okay. Again, in a thermal, there are the different categories are also level. Thermal, that is normally called which use fossil fuel. Okay, so by the diesel 0.56, mainly this diesel power plant are at some islands and Nicobars. Then based on the lignite is also one type of the coal only, lower category coals. So 6.62 gigawatts. Gas 24 gigawatts. And again, about the 50%, 204 gigawatt produced by the coal only. Okay? Out of total, still date, we are producing by the coal only. And there is no future replacement, near future. Okay, in a future to hoga. Same, we talk about the renewable energy sources. So in a renewable energy sources, waste to electricity, almost 0.5 gigawatt. Small hydro stations whose capacity is lower than 25 megawatt, they are categorized as small hydros. almost 5 gigawatt. Co-generations, 10 gigawatts. Wind energy, we have 41 gigawatts. Solar energy, 60 gigawatts. Okay, so we come across the valuation of the coal power plant, valuation of the gas power plant, valuation of the diesel power plant, that is a 2 limited, valuation of the wind power plant, valuation of the solar power plant, valuation of the co-generation of the biogas power plants. So as a value, we have to get a knowledge or look about the entire industry, how industry is working. Okay. Same, we take care of the year-on-year growth, that is a historical data with respect to thermal. Okay, so at the end of the 2011 financial year, it was in range of the 113 gigawatt, that is increased up to the 236, almost double capacity we have achieved. But same side, other side of this, by year on year, we are saying that in a 10 years, capacity is almost get double, but the growth rate, addition of the coal power plants from the last 6 to 7 years is a decrease. We are not developing more thermal power plant nowadays. Okay, same thing is a coal, same scenario. In a coal, there is a one major part of our thermal power plants. From the about 95 gigawatts to it is increased 204 gigawatts. But again, from the last 4 to 6 years, we are not adding India is not adding the core power plant in its portfolio for the power generations. Okay, this point we have to in a mind. When we are doing the coal power plant, what is the scenario? And we look at the different angle, that is about the renewable energy sources. Nowadays, this thermal power plant is a compete by the renewable energy sources, and many advantage and disadvantage they have over each other. So if we check the renewable energy sources year on year, so from in range of the 3 gigawatts, nowadays renewable energy is available in range of the 120 gigawatts, 3 to 120. Their growth rate is a dramatic. Okay, but same scenario, we are also find that from the last 5 to 6 years, its development is also reduced. Growth rate is also reduced. Same scene we are finding in the wind. Growth rate is reduced. India is not achieving, installing more and more power plants nowadays. Its growth rate is too much reduced. Same for the solar, 0.02 gigawatts before a decade. Now it is in range of the 60 gigawatt, 1 to 60, 60 multiples. But again, same scenarios. Now, what is this? We are not looking energy. Consumption is slow down. Population growth is slow down. Electrification is slow down. Electrification is increasing year on year. This government announced almost 100% electrification are done in the rural areas. So consumption should be there. If consumption should be there, demand will be there. Demand should be there. Then there is a development of the power plant to fulfill the demand also should be there. But it is a negative trends. Okay. So these are the overall scenarios of the last decade. Contributions of a thermal power plant decreased from the 66% to 58%. Nuclear has almost same, but contributions 23% to the 11%. Same increase in the renewable energy sources, 10% to 30%, almost 3 times during the last decade. Okay. What is the positions of the centrals state and private players. Again, there's a one good thing happening in the power sector. Okay, year on year, private sectors are increasing. Matlab, as a valuer, we are getting a more chance to deliver our services. Same time, state in a declinations, centrals year on year growth is in declination. Central almost from the 50% is reached at the state 50% to the half, 25% is contributions. Central 32% to 42, 24. And private has increased their contribution from 80% to 50%. So whatever the share lose by state government and central government, that is a gain by the private sectors. Okay. Electricity generations. Population is increasing. Year on year, overall plant capacity increasing. So generation, but obviously increasing. But the growth rate of generations again become a constant or a downwards from the last 5 to 6 years. Okay. Major answer is why this is due to we are increasing the generations, but there is a downfall in a install capacity. So almost nowadays we are matching our demand equal to supply. Earlier, that demand and supply gap was almost in range of the 10 to 11%. This demand and supply in a currently almost at 0.2 to 0.3%. So after the almost financial year 17, we are matching our demand and supply. If demand and supply is matching, so there is no need for the more installations of the power generations plant. So that's why we are finding that by new installment that may be in a thermal or in a solar or in a wind has shown the downward growth rate. Okay. If demand increase, then there will be an increase in the supply. Increasing the supply means of more installations of the power generation units. But nowadays, as a valuer, we have to keep mind one more point that India is at level of demand equal to supply. If we increase more and more installed capacity and there is no demand, again, without economic benefit, asset has no value. So one more point, when we are valuing the power station, we are almost equal to demand equal to supply. Okay. So this is a bifurcations related to the how much electricity generated by the fossil fuel and non-fossil fuels. Okay. Nowadays, after the 2018 or 19, government recognizing large hydropower station as a renewable energy sources. So that is comes under the non-fossil fuel. Okay. So we have looked at thermal power station in terms of the generation capacity is 59% or 60%, but in electricity generations, it's contributed about the 75%. Though solar energy or wind energy increasing drastically, their installed capacity become 10 times or 6 times. In a near future, they cannot replace thermal power stations. So it will be not happening like a thermal power station will become obsolete due to the solar or wind. Yeah, due to the renewable energy sources. Up to the next 10 years, it is not possible. Yeah, up to the 2030, it is not possible. Because its generation 75% that cannot be replaced by the renewable energy sources. Same, it is a solar, its generation capacity is 14%, but electricity, what we are consuming electricity, only 5%. So capacity is higher, but electric generation capacity is lower. Same, we got the wind. In a generation capacities, it is a 10%, but almost nearby the 5%. It is producing the electricity that which we are consuming. Nuclear at almost same rate, 12% and 10%. 3% and 2%. And hydro, its generation capacity is at 12% and also share in the electricity in the range of that 10%. So though competitions of a thermal power plant with a wind or solar power plant, we are not losing, well, thermal is not losing its value in the current economic conditions. Okay. Yeah, it is competed by wind and solar. That's a different thing. Okay. Wind and solar plant has their own advantage. It is different thing. But thermal as on date, it has not lose its value due to the upcoming or present solar plant or wind plant. Okay, so that is again same thing. Year on year, how they are changing. Well, thermal 72% to 74%. There is a minor change during the decade. Okay, hydro, same thing. Nuclear, same thing. But one more positive thing that for the renewable energy sources, their share is increased in the last decade from 4% to 12%. Almost 4 times that share is increased. And in future, it may be increased more rapidly. So it is a threat for a future. Okay, when we are doing the valuations of any infrastructure properties, we are think about the SWOT analysis. What is the strength? What is the weakness? What is the opportunity? What is the threat? So it may be this is a trend find based on the whatever the data we have. Okay. Generation capability of a thermal is reducing. In the downtrend, hydro is a downtrend, nuclear is the downtrend, but renewable energy sources, their contributions is in a positive trend. It is supported by the central policies and state policies. There's one more reason. So capacity additions, overall scenario, capacity additions are going from the 132, we reach at the 400, almost double. Gap between the demand and supply now is a minimum. Contributions of the fossil fuels and fuel that we have studied. Capacity consumptions per capita, it is increasing due to the electrification increasing, due to the urbanization increasing, due to the generation capacity increasing, per capita consumptions also increasing. Okay. Transmission lines are increasing. Okay, same the electricities are increasing, tariffs are there. Average tariff rated between the private players, they are increasing, or their tariff rate is increasing. So these are the one overall scenarios or say macro analysis of a power sector. At which positions we say demand and supply is equal, almost equal. Downtrend in installed capacity. Share of renewable energy is increasing. So these are the point that electrifications are increasing. Capacity consumption per capita is increasing. Trade in DISCOM or other terminals is increasing and at a good tariff price. Private demand of power is increasing. Yeah, day-to-day demand by the consumer, mostly from the electrical industrial consumer, is increasing. Okay, so this is the one entire scenarios of the power sector. Okay, so if we see that, what is the forecast based on the, it is not assumed, okay, based on the whatever the permissions is given by the government, some of the underlying projects. So gas, it is a 6% reduced up by the 3%. Coal generation capacities 24 reduced by up to the 30%, nuclear 2% to 3%. Means of there is a new upcoming nuclear plants also there. Biogas 3% to 1%, hydro 12% to 9%. But in next upcoming area, wind, whose capacity installation in the range of the 10% will increase up to the 17%. Solar, whose capacity today is a 14%, it will increase by the almost double or more than 20%. So these are the based on the project which is already granted or project which is under the developments. Okay, so in 2030 scenario will be like this. Same if we do about risk factors in this. So first prime risk factor is a PPA, purchase price recognitions. Purchase price agreement with consumer होगा कि नहीं होगा. Land for the development, land acquisitions, land for development मिलेगी कि नहीं मिलेगी, of if available, at which cost it will be available. Because after the LARA Act, okay, real estate का जो LARA, Land Acquisition and Rehabilitation Settlement Act, it's very difficult to acquire the land at the cheap rate. Earlier it was possible, but nowadays after 2014, it is very difficult to acquire a large parcel of land for the developments. Okay, then payment delay. Major electricity are traded through the DISCOM, and DISCOM is not making payments regularly. Then rupee depreciations and all the other risk factors. But prime three risk factors that this power industry is facing, it is a PPA agreement, land acquisitions, payment delay. Else is a risk, but is a handleable risk, can handle by the any central government, state governments, or the private producers. Okay, so these are about the macro analysis. If you have questions, then we can discuss over it. Anyone? Okay.
So friends, if you are having any doubt or question related to the subject covered till now, you can ask. You can unmute yourself and ask the question.
सर ये जस्ट इसके पहले वाली स्लाइड पे जाएंगे. यही वाला सर.
हाँ बोलिए.
यहाँ कहा जा रहा है कि 54% जो है कोल वाला, वो 33% हो जाएगा.
सही है
ना. मतलब जो पावर प्लांट्स आज की तारीख में चल रहे हैं उन पे इन्वेस्टमेंट नहीं किया जाएगा और वो धीरे धीरे शट डाउन करके बंद कर दिए जाएंगे. यही मतलब हुआ ना.
धीरे धीरे शट डाउन करके बंद हो जाएंगे. देखिए आज की कंडीशंस में थर्मल के लिए बात करें तो कोई भी प्राइवेट प्लेयर थर्मल पावर प्लांट नहीं बना रहा है. ओके, एक या दो.
ठीक है.
सेकंड, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट कोई नहीं बना रही है.
जी सर.
सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट के जो पहले से अप्रूव्ड पावर प्लांट है उसका कंस्ट्रक्शन चल रहा है. एंड many retire plant आ जाएंगे. Many plant of a central has reached at age, मतलब they are running after 35 or 40 years. उसे जैसे जैसे विंड और सोलर से एनर्जी मिलती रहेगी, मिलना स्टार्ट हो जाएगी, वो प्लांट शट डाउन हो जाएंगे. देखिए आज की डेट में वी कैन नॉट शट डाउन दिस थर्मल पावर प्लांट. क्यों? अगर बंद कर देंगे तो फ्रॉम वेयर वी आर गेटिंग द एनर्जी. अगर एनर्जी नहीं मिलेगी, देयर इज अ डिमांड एंड नो सप्लाई. अगेन वो पुराने दिन याद आ जाएंगे. आई थिंक सो दिल्ली वालों ने बहुत देखा है. वंस अपॉन अ टाइम्स मैं जींद गया था 3 या 4 में, मैंने पाया हर एक के घर में जनरेटर. और इट इज ट्रू दैट के इलेक्ट्रिसिटी चली जाती थी दिन में 7-8 आवर्स इलेक्ट्रिसिटी अवेलेबल थी और बाकी फुल हो जाती थी. Because at that time demand was higher, supply was lower. This demand and supply gap nowadays almost equal. या 0.2% इतना ही कम है.
एज अ वैल्यूअर मेरा पॉइंट ये था कि जैसे अब हम तो नए वैल्यूअर्स अभी ऐड हुए हैं इसमें, तो सोलर पावर प्लांट तो अपकमिंग है, यानी नए वाले पावर प्लांट्स जो आएंगे उसमें वैल्यूएशन के लिए सोलर तो एक फील्ड हो गई. पॉइंट ये था कि जो थर्मल वाले जो डीबंक किए जाएंगे, मतलब जो बंद कर दिए जाएंगे पावर प्लांट्स, क्या उनका वैल्यूएशन भी गवर्नमेंट कराती है कि अब हम इतने का ये बंद कर रहे हैं, या उसमें वैल्यूएशन नहीं होती और डायरेक्ट बंद कर दिए जाते हैं?
नहीं नहीं, गवर्नमेंट ऑल्सो डूइंग अ वैल्यूएशन. ओके, फॉर दैट दे आर, मतलब उनकी जो प्रोक्योरमेंट है मे बी बाय टेंडरिंग या मे बी बाय उनके जो पैनल पे है उनको दे आर अलॉटिंग. बट बिफोर डिसमेंटलिंग anything, all the public center units are doing a valuation exercise.
मतलब अगर ये जितना सोलर में काम नहीं हो रहा उतना काम थर्मल पावर प्लांट में मिल सकता है, या थर्मल पावर प्लांट में उतना काम हो सकता है अगर वो पावर प्लांट्स बंद हो रहे हैं तो?
या 100%.
ठीक है ना सर, ये सही समझ रहा हूँ ना मैं?
सही समझ रहे. इवन इट इज नॉट अगर आपको मतलब इट इज ऑल्सो मैंडेटरी रिक्वायरमेंट इन अ बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट ऑल्सो. अगर आपको आपकी बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट से कोई एसेट निकालनी है, डिस्कार्ड करनी है, देन ऑल्सो यू रिक्वायर द वैल्यूएशन.
सर
सही है.
थैंक यू
पटेल जी.
हाँ बोलिए.
ये जो थर्मल पावर प्लांट जहाँ तक हमको याद है, ये 40 साल पुराना से लेके थोड़ा नया वाला में एनटीपीसी और स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का आता है. ठीक है. वो तो मेनली ऑल गवर्नमेंट. प्राइवेट में तो उस टाइम में तो कैप्टिव पावर प्लांट छोड़ के और कुछ नहीं था 20 साल पहले.
देयर वाज अ टाइम
15 साल पहले खाली टाटा पावर है सब जनरल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन के लिए शुरू. मेरा कहना वो नहीं है, मेरा कहना है कि ये ऑलरेडी वो ये जो बंद होने वाला है वो गवर्नमेंट साइड से होगा तो 40 साल 35 साल से कम का उम्र का नहीं है, जिसमें वैल्यूएशन का आई डोंट नो व्हाट रेस्पेक्ट एडिशनल वर्क विल कम, बिकॉज द गवर्नमेंट का रूल अलग है. वो कैपिटल इक्विपमेंट को डिस्कार्ड करना आफ्टर लाइफ इज ऑलरेडी डन, but it is only sustaining because there is a power requirement. मेरा कहना है immediately कोई पावर प्लांट में कोई स्पेशल जॉब तो नहीं मिलने वाला, except there are some new power plant which are not commissioned, maybe loan taken.
नहीं
मिलेगा प्राइवेट में. काफी है 2010 का पावर प्लांट बहुत आधा बना के रखा हुआ है.
संतोष जी, if you think about as per the under company act, if you are discarding anything, and for the discardment, you have to do the valuation for the fair value for the discardment disclosure as a part of your financial statement. Okay, you discard this at this price. Okay, valuation.
Public sector में I have a doubt on that. Once it is already
नहीं कोई बात नहीं,
but 40 years.
नहीं, yeah, that is okay, but as a part of the profession from the last 10 years, we have do such a types of assignments for many times. It may be for the DVC, it may be for the NTPC, it may be for the this BPCL or ONGC or whatever. Okay, but we have to keep in the what कि भाई कहाँ से कैसे काम जनरेट हो रहा है. Okay, but that frequency it is a means once upon a time. जबकि प्राइवेट सेक्टर में ये फ्रीक्वेंसी बहुत बार आती है. They are doing the valuations for the various purposes.
अच्छा, मेरा दूसरा क्वेश्चन है ऑन सोलर में एफिशिएंसी इज द मेजर इशू, व्हिच प्रॉब्ली आपका जो जनरेशन और कैपेसिटी का डिफरेंस है.
Yeah, so that is मैं बोला ना संतोष जी, it is each every plant has a advantage and disadvantage over each other. Okay, so we will discuss about that also. Okay. आपका एजिंग के बारे में भी डिस्कस करेंगे. सही है, कोई बात
नहीं. सोलर में
संजय सर
में इट इज एफिशिएंसी.
हाँ, सोलर में एफिशिएंसी इज लोअर, बट दैट वी विल डिस्कस अंडर द माइक्रो एनालिसिस. ओके,
थैंक यू.
वी हैव डिस्कस अबाउट द पावर सेक्टर. या
सर, वो फिल्म को याद करिए, शाहरुख खान जी को याद करिए. पिक्चर अभी बाकी है मेरे दोस्त. अभी बहुत कल बाकी है सर, अभी तो जस्ट एक इंट्रोडक्शन चल रहा है
इसमें. संजय सर,
हाँ बोलिए.
एक चीज मैं शेयर करना चाह रहा था कि जो पुराने थर्मल पावर प्लांट्स है उसमें एमिशन नॉर्म्स या एनवायरमेंटल कंसर्न्स को एड्रेस करने के तरीके आ गए. तो इसलिए पुराने प्लांट्स में वो ऑप्शन गवर्नमेंट ने दिया था कि यू ब्रिंग दोस इमिशंस टू दैट लेवल. उसमें FGD और 2-3 टेक्नोलॉजीज है, उनको ऐड करने का अलाउ किया हुआ है, तो आप प्लांट को रन कर सकते हैं। एक पार्ट जिसका सवाल का जो मैं जवाब दे, जो सब कह रहे थे भी कि वो एकदम से बंद कर देते हैं, बंद नहीं है, वो ऑप्शन दिया हुआ, सडनली क्लोज नहीं करना। सेकेंड चीज जो मेरे को जानकारी में कि अभी कुछ समय के लिए गवर्नमेंट ने अलाउ किया है नए थर्मल पावर प्लांट की ऑर्डरिंग ओपन करिए फॉर सर्टेन पीरियड ऑफ टाइम। मेरे समझ 2025 तक ऑर्डरिंग कर सकते हैं टू बी एग्जीक्यूटेड बाय 2030। अभी सोलर का थ्रस्ट स्लाइटली रिड्यूस किया है, यू मस्ट बी अवेयर अबाउट दिस।
ओके, सो जो ये बात थी ना, इट इज रिलेटेड टू द FGD, ओके, फ्यूल गैस डिसल्फराइजेशन, FGD।
जी।
सो FGD जो कॉस्टिंग है पर मेगावाट इन रेंज ऑफ द 50 करोड़, 50 करोड़ पर मेगावाट के आसपास उसकी कॉस्टिंग आती है। इफ एवरीबॉडी डू दिस, so economic viability is suffering. Okay, someone just like have a power plant of the 1000 megawatt. So 1000 megawatt matlab 0.5 crore per megawatt. So 500 crores they have to invest in the coal power plant to install, to reduce the gases, FGD unit dalna hai. But this the FGD unit do not give additional economic advantage. It is just a government regulations. Okay, so first they come with the good picture, FGD lagana sabko, but government realized that it is not economic viable. So step by step they go for the procedure. By they select some plant, first you have to do, then next batch may you have to do, then next batch may you have to do. Like that they are going on. Okay. Otherwise, I today currently when I am doing the valuation of the thermal plant and FGD is not there, I am reducing their value. When you are forecasting the future life 15 years, but this future life 15 years, if install the FGD, and I am reducing the value of the FGD per megawatt 50 crore.
वो वैल्यूएशन में ऐसा ही इफेक्ट लगेगा, जब है तो ठीक है, अदरवाइज उसका वैल्यूएशन रिड्यूस हो जाएगा प्रोपोर्शनली।
सही है, तो it is a conditional government, मतलब releasing each and every order में they are extending timelines, so they are executing. Okay, all this information is also available, which plant is going to install FGD in this year, in next financial year, but step by steps they are going to do. But basically whose age is a little bit lower, they are installing first, or economy is higher, they are installing first. Old power plant may retire before or after 2030 in absence of the FGD. Okay. Yeah. So let's go for the micro identifications. We are